I don't know if I hate my business or if I'm just exhausted. Does this sound familiar to you, Chris, according to the many, many, many clients that you've worked with in the past?
Yeah, this is very familiar. It reminds me very much of something that you and I put together. Well, we turned a discussion into a PowerPoint and the PowerPoint into notes, and it was called Your Business at a Glance. And it came from a coaching modality. Darren Sherlaw, he was one of the coaches, and he said to me over in India some years ago, why don't you come on board and coach for the company? I said, well, no, I coach for myself, and I have been doing that for a long time. But what I got from particularly this discussion with him at the time, and then with you, we put it together, is we put together Your Business at a Glance. And at a certain point in a business owner's life, it can be, depending upon how much they've already put into the business, it could be 5 years intense, or it could be 5 years cruising along at 5 years. If they've been doing it quite intense for 7 years or 8 years plus, and they're spinning wheels and going round and round in the same sort of situation, which means they're always chasing sales when they have no work, and when they have too much work, they're not doing anything with sales at all. At that period, around the 7 years plus, if they've been going at it full steam ahead, they are generally burnt out. So when people come to me and I meet them either on Zoom or I meet them in face-to-face, and they're a little bit tired, dejected, depressed, complaining a bit, not happy, I just say to them, look, you're probably around the 7 or 8 year mark in business for yourself. How true is that? And they just say, well, generally, yes, I'm at 9 years, or I'm at 8 years, or I'm at 7 years, but it'll be probably between 7 to 10 years where they've been at it full tilt, feeling in control, still not feeling in control. They're not making the sales they want, or they're not making the profit they want, or their team is not the team they want. Generally, they need an injection of new energy. That new energy is generally me, or it can be another business coach who has enthusiasm, is not going to quit up, he's not going to give up on them. He has, or she has, many different tools and resources that they can give to the business owner to give them a totally new approach to their business and to life. It's not just a business thing, it's a life thing. So the question is, all right, to what degree is this burnt out, feeling I'm hating my business, to what degree is it going through their whole life? Are they hating their life as well? Well, probably, because their business is probably 70% of their life. And if they've been in business for themselves, and they have been, and they've been in business for a long time, 7 or 8 years, that business is supporting their whole life. It's supporting their holidays if they have any, and they're generally not having too many holidays. It's supporting their family, their children, their in-laws, their outlaws. So at this stage, they're generally hating their life. Now, they don't like to say it because they don't want to feel ungrateful for their family and everything, but they don't have the life they feel they need, they want, or they deserve. And then it's my job to try and turn that around, or it's someone else's job to try and turn it around. That person needs to have a whole lot of skill sets. They need to be themselves energetic. They need to be themselves enjoying what they do. It's not much good having a business coach or a business mentor who actually doesn't like what they do. They need to love what they're doing as well. They need also to be good with people. And from that point of that person hating their business and being exhausted, I inject a new virus. It's a virus of positivity. It's a virus of hope. It's a virus, yes, there's work to do. It's a work virus to change the way they're working. They are working in the business but not on it. Everyone knows that expression, in the business but not on it. They're working in it. They're not doing enough work on it. So they're making a priority of things that really are not a priority. It's an injection of enthusiasm. It's also an injection of what I would call research, which is basically a new way of looking at their business. So it might have something to do with systems. It might have something to do with anything at all. But basically, it'll be a new way of looking at their business. Are they looking at the numbers? Are they looking at the right numbers? Are they looking at the wrong numbers? Are they only looking at sales and they're not looking at profit? Are they only looking at sales conversion and then not looking at acquisition cost per customer or per client? So are they looking at the right numbers to give them the enthusiasm to basically say, wow, I've been looking at the wrong things. Now I'm looking at the right things. I am totally excited. Generally speaking, what I've seen is if they come on board with this, depending, 5, 6, 7 years to 10 years, and this is actually how they feel. There's one more thing on top of that. They're also feeling very bored. So they hate it, they're bored, and they're exhausted. All of those things all at once. If we can inject some enthusiasm and on top of that, some systems and strategy to basically take the business in another direction, then they get the trust and the hope that this will turn things around. And what I've seen is it does turn things around, and people can get the enthusiasm back, they can get the love for the business back. They can see that they have been the bottleneck in the business. And this is important. People who are hating their business or they're exhausted, generally speaking, they're micromanaging everything. They're probably doing 50% of the admin work where they should be offloading or
Delegating,
employing someone else to do that work. So they're micromanaging, they're doing work they don't need to do, they're working more in the business rather than on it, which they should be doing. So there's a whole bunch of different behaviours they're going to have to take on board and admit, yes, I'm the bottleneck in the business. Chris, please help me do something about it. I've got such a client now. The first thing I'd be saying is how much time are they spending doing certain things? So we might do a time audit. We might see if they have a default calendar. We might have a look. Particularly, we would look at their calendar.
I see.
That would be the very first thing. That's on the disc profile, that would be like a high C. We'd look at a high C, someone who's driven by systems, templates, sheets. But the benefit of that is you can tell how a person is doing if you look at their calendar. Now, a long time ago, you looked at my calendar. So clean, crisp, certain things to do on a certain days, certain things locked in, a certain structure to the week.
And there's meditation in there too.
And meditation, of course, in there as well. I don't like to, I mention that so many times, I get sick of hearing my own voice talking about meditation, mindfulness, because people don't really even know what that means. We won't talk about it now. Maybe that's another discussion for another day. But certainly having a more mindful, conscious approach, being present in the moment, we make better decisions being present right now. If we're thinking about tomorrow or the day after or the week ahead, fine, we need to do that sometimes, but let's do it from right now, where I am right now. With a disc profile is a behavioural assessment, but more than anything else, what I want to do in the early stage with the person, like immediately, is look at their pricing system. Do they have a business model that's actually workable? Like, for instance, what does that mean, a business model that's workable? If you double their sales or increase their sales by 50%, are they still making money? So from the very beginning, we have to work out what their problem is. That's a big thing, right? Well, firstly, yes, I can look at their calendar, but I want to know what the problem in their business is immediately. From the very beginning, yes, I'll look at their calendar, I'll look and see how their work week looks like. But more than anything else, I want to know if their business is actually making money.
Okay.
They might be bringing sales in, but their profit margin might be terrible. Or their profit margin might look good, but their cash flow, their operating cash flow is terrible. So it might look on their profit and loss account that their accrual profits are good, but actually they've got a business model where cash is going out faster than money coming in. And that will happen where suppliers often want money up front from their customer. So my client then has to give them money straight away, and he won't get paid for, or she won't get paid for 3 months, for instance. It might look like there's a profit on paper, but actually they're being drained of cash because they've got to pay their costs of sales straight away, but they don't get that money back for 3 months. So there's the difference. So I'll be looking to see if there's a difference between their profit on the profit and loss account and a cash from the cash flow forecast. I look at both those documents, cash flow forecast, profit and loss accrual based, and try to marry them together and to see if it makes sense. And then another thing I'll just say, if you double your sales, do you have the staff to do the work? And I might say, if we double the sales, and I say, well, okay, if you increase the sales by 30%, do you have enough employees or team or resources to do the work? And they might just say no. And I just say, well, you've got a faulty business model. So from the very beginning, I want to find out if they're making money to begin with, right?
And right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to offer something like a shortcut version of that, but it's still valuable. Wherein the tool that you mentioned, the time audit, even the disc profile is included in that offer. It's a 90-day offer that will be opening up for a few people, for a few select people who want to come in. But then towards the end of the session, or towards the end of it's a 6-week session, if I'm correct. And the end session is actually like a freestyle Q&A wherein people can ask about their financials and any decision support that they might need in that in the 6 weeks that you're working with them. So I'll just mention some of the tools that we've mentioned in the past for the group offer, which is there's a boardroom session to begin with, and then there's a time audit about the exhaustion issue. There's also the communication intelligence, even the leadership profile, where we can have a look at their DISC profile and their values. And this usually resolves people and hiring stress. And then lastly is the Q&A, where then they can ask you anything under the sun, including any financial questions they might have.
Yeah, anything at all. The boardroom session is very, very, very business focused, and it will help them and show them what they need to have a successful business.
Cool.
And it's quite it's very comprehensive, and it'll be because it's quite lengthy. It'll be in 2 parts, remember?
Right.
But it's very, very comprehensive, very detailed, and very explicit on all the things you could say to have an ideal business, all the things that have to be looked at to have an ideal business.
Yes.
There's going to be certainly time. People want time. They want their time back. So they want more freedom. They want more income as well. And often they want more sales and marketing.
Right.
Those are the 3 areas. So if I say to people, tell me the 3 areas where money is made or lost, they actually won't know. They won't know the areas where money is made or lost. So in the boardroom session, we go through all that, and they see, wow, these are the 3 areas, only 3 areas where money is made or lost. But it's a very comprehensive and detailed dive into those 3 areas. So the boardroom session is really revealing. Many business owners won't even have heard about it or even know about it, but once they do, and we'll go slowly, that's why we split it up into 2 sessions, many things will, the light will go on, they'll have a light bulb moment, like, wow, I didn't know this. And it's quite structured, it's quite simple, it's quite systematic. They'll see, okay, I need to be all over these 3 areas. And from there, well, they'll get hope. There'll be hope from that. There'll be hope, there'll be enthusiasm, and there'll be an understanding, more importantly. And from there, we proceed.
Yes, and understanding, maybe answering or having clarity to why they're saying, I don't know if I hate my business or if I'm just...
They usually see they don't hate it, but that it's all got too much. You can basically hate anything you love to start with. I've experienced this myself. One of the hardest things is keeping enthusiastic about the most boring aspects of your life.
And then you're so good at that, knowing you for
a long time.
11 years now. Yes.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's coming up to 11 years, Alyssa.
I know. Sometimes when I think about it, it's like 11 years. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It seems like yesterday. But I know that I've changed a lot by just working with you.
Yeah, you have changed. Yeah,
I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah, I was talking to my ChatGPT clone over the weekend, and I said, okay, I'll give you my timeline. I'll give you a brain dump of what I was, just so I get my mind clear as well. So I gave everything. I gave it the stories that are in my mind. This is what I was. This is what I experienced. I had 4 one-day jobs, and I asked it to, summarize it. And I said, what's a pivot like? How many pivots? Because you have 12 or even maybe more pivots now.
Yeah, a lot
more than 12, right? There was a time when I decided to stop college. It was just first year because I couldn't get any tuition fees from my resources. I stopped for a year And you know what I did for a year? I'm not sure if I shared this with you. For 1 year, I did the same thing. Wake up late, eat, watch TV, go out with the neighbors and talk to them until late, go back home, have dinner, watch TV until late. Same thing over and over again for 1 year. And one day I woke up and I said, I'm done. I'm done with this whole routine 1 year doing the same thing over and over again. It's just not. And I said, it wasn't working. I said, I'll look for a job. Whatever job I find, I'll give it my all because I've wasted 1 year already just doing the same thing over and over again.
That's a meditation that I suggested to someone. Whatever you want to do, if you want to sleep in, watch TV, eat chips. And I suggested it to one of my clients to do that. He did it for about 3 or 4 months. And then he got sick of it, right?
Right. So coming back to this, I don't know if I hate my business or if I'm just exhausted. You've heard this several times with a lot of clients.
Yeah, it's a very good question. And almost probably, I'd say almost 85, 90% of business owners will be saying this to themselves if they have some sort of self-awareness. If they don't have any self-awareness, they'll just get depressed or angry. One of the two, depressed, angry, frustrated. One of the two they'll get. But someone with self-awareness, if they're at this stage, they are then ready for a business mentor, business coach, or some other catalyst, whatever the other catalyst is. They're ready for a change, I have to say.